architect of the city of St. Paul. And we talked about the future of the city of St. Paul, and together we dreamed about how great the city can be. We dreamed about the future that we're going to have together when we build light rail in the Central Corridor. When we have a booming riverfront in the city of St. Paul. When we have new economic vitality across the city. And when we have a multicultural city that recognizes that diversity is our strength, not our weakness.
He's a hometown boy who grew up to be mayor of his hometown.
Chris never lived more than a mile or so from the place he was born.
Chris is second to the last in the family, or the sixth of 7 children. Maybe because of that, I don't know. He imprinted on his dad like a duck without a mother. But whenever Dad would walk in the house, Chris would start following him around. And so he got the nickname Shadow.
Family is at the center of his life. However busy he was, you always knew what was happening with his kids and with Connie.
Chris was the type of guy that would take time out of his schedule to go pay respect for your parents, a loved one that might have passed.
Mayor Coleman regularly says to me, it's easy to do things that are right and politically expedient. It's hard to do things that are just right.
He's been mayor through some pretty hard times in the city, through the Great Recession, through foreclosure crisis, through a whole bunch of things that have created significant challenge for the city.
We had a budget with a structural deficit that would have broken almost any other mayor. But we set about, to tighten the financial house that we were working with in St. Paul and make sure that we would achieve structural balance in our budget within 3 years. The mayor was also determined not to lose this opportunity. This was a time to begin investing in St. Paul.
The one thing about Chris Coleman is that Chris Coleman had a great respect for the people that kept our city going, from the skilled labor in the street to the accounting staff.
And Chris stood out there the morning after election and shook every hand of every employee coming in. And then his first day in office, we handed out respect buttons to everyone.
I think that Chris Coleman represents to me the most interesting and intriguing public leader. He's wickedly smart, has an incredible sense of humor, but he leads with vision and with integrity.
That Socratic method, I guess you would call it, of questioning and probing and looking for weaknesses was all part of that decision-making style. But he's also very decisive.
It's amazing what's happened in only 12 years. And I was telling someone that you can't compare one administration to another, but this 12 years is unparalleled in the last 100 years. And the guy said to me, you can compare it. And it is unparalleled in the last 100 years. And you know who said that to me? Chris Coleman.
Working with Chris, I've got to say, was the highlight of my career.
The fate of young people has been a priority of his literally since the day that he took office almost 12 years ago.
He's also led us to become an education city, and I'm looking forward to leading that work forward.
And I think there is a sense of hope and encouragement that perhaps wasn't there before.
One of the best measures of a good executive is who they hire.
What I was most impressed by was the calculated risks that he took. Mayor Coleman is a very smart, quick study. And when I think about the Penfield in downtown, that project had every problem you could possibly imagine from the day he took office until the day it was built.
We're sitting here tonight in Rondo Library, and the recent $500,000 renovation of this library was from the resources of the Penfield.
If you look at the Palace Theater, he had the vision for that before anybody knew what was really even possible down here.
I will admit now, Mayor, I would roll my eyes and saying, that is not going to happen.
And he got that done by sheer force of will.
Even the Minneapolis papers writing about the shows at the Palace.
I think that since he's been the mayor, you could see the turnaround. You can see how University Avenue now is popping. It used to be a place you hurry up and get through. Now it's a place where you want to stop.
I appreciate his boldness around equity.
Chris believed in doing way more than just basics. He said, we're going to take risks.
And because of the work that he supported in terms of building new market rate development while also retaining our historic buildings, for example, the Pioneer Indicadena's historic project, Custom House historic project, these are very expensive projects. But he understood, he saw the end game in terms of what that was going to mean for the city of St. Paul and downtown.
He leveraged the investment in the Green Line to make sure that the people and places along the line were lifted up, that the investment reached every neighborhood in St. Paul along the Green Line, and that everyone had access to the benefits of that investment.
So with this light rail, I come from a community that the first I-94 transportation project decimated the predominantly African American community, the Rondo community. And Mayor Coleman, he said, we will not repeat another Rondo.
That now we see people wanting to do something. We see small businesses wanting to get started. And that wasn't there before. So I think he's done a great job.
So for downtown, it's again doubling the downtown residential population. But more importantly, I think it really did something to St. Paul's reputation.
It's about that inner compass, that inner gyroscope, which has a clear sense of where he wanted to go.
I remember being downtown last summer or the summer before and just looking around saying, this isn't the city I grew up in. And that's thanks to Chris.
Chris, what I like to say, what he started, you finished. Good job.
Even though he's Irish, a French saying really fits, courage de la tête, courage of the head. And he also has courage of the heart.
Mayor Coleman and Connie, thank you so much for your leadership and all the work that you've done to help move this city forward. Sakina and I have gotten a glimpse of what that takes and what your lives have been like for the last 12 years. And I know it's not always easy, but you too have led with dignity and grace and a real passion for the city. So thank you.
I hope what is in your next chapter is the ability to use all these incredible skills that you have naturally and that you grew in office. I hope that you have the chance to use those in your next journey